I think this is the smartest Lego brick that Lego have come out with. I really do. I know that seems like that's a clip from in the future. Actually, that was from the first recording, and funnily enough, that's the only line the mic picked up. It's not even like it was disconnected. Anyway, here we have the brand new patents for some electric Lego bricks. I'm so excited to be bringing this to you because we've just picked up a light up Mace Windu, got some new batteries in that, and taken a look a little bit into how those minifigures work to light up the LED savers all the way back 20 years ago. And now 20 years later, we have a 2x4 sound brick. You can see there's lines coming from it. There must be some sort of sound inside, and we've got a few different images for this pattern. First off, because it's 2x4, we're not going to be storing some quite large batteries. The button batteries that Lego use do end up being quite large for a Lego brick. And we've got this 2x4 here compared to the 4x4 that Lego have been making for the hat, for the radio, for Soundwave, coming out in August. Interesting to see the future of this brick, if it is 2x4, but it's got this charging platform that is kind of part of the pattern. We've got this Lego brick on the back. Maybe that's where we can stand some minifigures, you know, build our own display. Kind of reminds me of the portal for Lego Dimensions, only this will charge up the bricks even whilst they're in Lego models. There will be a few problems that we'll get into later on with the set that Lego have announced for these bricks, but we do have what seems to be the 2x4 maybe in the center, or maybe it's the engine block. Maybe it's right in the front here, built into the entire car. This seems to be a ice cream truck of sorts. Looks to be some ice cream truck, and it's missing the top piece. I think that's just a stylistic choice. Maybe they've got the sunroof open of an ice cream truck. That don't sound too good. But they've wiped down the entire vehicle on this charging base to recharge the sound brick. And this sound brick is quite complex still. It's not the simplest of things. It's a bit different to our light bricks that aren't too far off the size. But we have our 2x4 hollowed out at the bottom with a few electrical components. I wanna focus on the top here because I think this right here might be the speaker at 415, and then we have a coil. Maybe it's not, maybe this is just part of a cooling piece for the brick. This is to allow the sound out. We've got this coil that allows it to travel through this layer here and then come around and maybe come out of the sides of the brick so that it's not muffled inside the 2x4, even though I think this would probably be built into a lot of different sets. Maybe there's a little gap. Maybe there's a little gap on the inside that allows it, and that's why the ice cream truck was completely empty at the top, a bit like the Juggernaut if you try and pick it up by the opening hatch. But look at how small and compact this is. This is crazy. This is part of the US pattern. It's been patented in Europe and the US that we know of at the minute, but this brick isn't actually new for 2025. It's been patented here in 2025, but the patent was put in at least a year ago. It takes a few years for patents to actually work and for patents to be registered, confirmed, all of that. And we've got a minifigure alongside, which is the same deal as the brick, but fit a bit more snugly into the minifigure's torso. And these are interactive bricks as well. They don't just make a sound when a button's pressed. On the 2x4, that's not a button there, that's probably a screw hole. Maybe they can be activated with a button, but I feel like that's just to hold up the pieces on top. So this minifigure would probably go near a brick or near some sort of NFC. I barely remember the anagrams for all the Star Wars ships, honestly. But you know, when you're in a supermarket and you're paying with contactless, maybe you're using your phone, that same connection there is what's going to set off these minifigures and bricks. Maybe they set off each other as well. That would be nice, and that would also make some sense. But they can hide little chips in different animals, in different scenes, in the smallest of small places. Honestly, get a little flat one stuck in a bit of paper on the wing of a dragon or something. And when a minifigure is riding Toothless, for instance, the minifigure can, "You useless reptile." You know, say a little quote like that. Kenobi on the high ground. It's over. I have the high ground. Maybe even throw a little hello there in for Kenobi time to time. But the use of these minifigures is something that it blows my mind. It blows my mind that LEGO have this technology and what they can do in the next 5 years. We're talking up to 2030 here. So by that point, you know, most of their environmentally friendly packs haven't even come into play. They're not planning on becoming like eco-friendly and that for another 5+ years. I think most of them are like 2032 by the time that they reach their goal. And by then, we could have all these lights and sound bricks. Look at that. Some LEDs in it as well. So this isn't just the sound brick. This isn't just the light brick. But this is both a sound and light brick. This is basically power functions in a 2x4, isn't it? It looks to be a bit more than a 2x4. Maybe it's a 2x4 on top, but it's about 4 plates tall. And they have used this in a set. You know full well that minifigure is going to have a little flushing sound in that cubicle there. But this is based on a 2024 set. You might have seen a bit of this last year. It wasn't covered anywhere near as well. I think LEGO do need to improve their advertising. A toy company as successful as they are, they need to improve this. Why didn't I see about this? Someone who, you know, I'm looking into lights and sounds things all the time and they're popping up on my news feed. I have no idea about the Jungle Explorers base camp, which it's city. You wouldn't think is a problem besides the fact that I was looking at City Jungle and the Arctic Explorer theme last year. We picked up a few sets and we were looking at all the little ones and the maps piecing together, and still I have no idea when they announced this. It also seems to have a few different noises. So the minifigures making noise, the ships are making noise. There's a few images as well from the listing on lego.com, and you can see the brick is quite prominently featured in the front of this helicopter here. So it'll have lights. Maybe it has a light at the front. We also seem to have the lights out the sides based on the previous image. Maybe they're different for different ships and they are built personalized to them, just like the sound bricks are right now. And the minifigure being placed in no doubt has one effect or two. I don't know what this giant blue light is over here. Maybe it's a searchlight. Maybe they have a searchlight. Maybe there's a light at the bottom of it as well. We've probably got a little tag in the toilet here. Again, I would love to get my hands on this set. And we also have a little something in this volcano here. But this is how it can be used. Minifigures and pets, you bring a pet close enough that has that chip inside, and there will be some sort of happy expression for like the little cubs and maybe even the monkeys. And then for something like a crocodile, maybe a more scared, worrying, dramatic expression. And it does seem to be a few different, like a pleasant one, a happy one, a scared one. You'll get a few different emotions, though not quite 30-40 that we're seeing in the larger bricks. You've got the sounds coming out of the helicopter again, as well as the lights we saw earlier. And whilst the truck is revving, you've got the man again with what seems like a not entirely pleasant expression, but I'm going to take that as just excitement or something, whilst revving the truck. And there we go. Proof, which I assume is some sort of fart. I don't really know how you'd get that from a fart. They could just put fart noises there. But yes, this guy is rooting and tooting in the toilet. You know, it's LEGO. Have a little bit of fun. And there's the volcano. Minifigure near the volcano. Every single one of these combinations has the minifigure near the brick. And the volcano starts to rumble. Maybe we're thinking about this wrong. Maybe the sounds aren't in the minifigure. Maybe what we saw is the chip, because you could definitely get that in and around the actual leg pieces of the minifigure. We've explored this with some of the hollowed out torsos LEGO have made for their key rings. This here is a 3PO key ring, and we've managed to fit an entire contraption on the middle to get the battle droid head on, like we see in Attack of the Clones. But I cannot wait to see what else is going on with this. We must have some sort of brick hidden back here. Look how thick this is and how deep it goes. Maybe someone goes under there to explore the hidden mines, find some gems, and here we go. Here's the blue brick in the volcano. So my issue with the volcano was the fact that the volcano is way too big to work on the charging platform. But this middle fire element, which do we have those walls? Are they Lego elements? I'm gonna have to check that. Wow, they've actually been a thing since stunts in 2021. So yeah, I didn't keep up with that theme. But you pull out this chunk here, whack that onto the charging platform, recharge it. Same with your minifigures. You could probably fit most of these from the same set on the same charging platform, which is quite nice. But we also have a few other patents here which are less interesting. But I'm definitely going to come back to these bricks. I'd love to see LEGO do more with them. There is so much they can do, and they could even add these little chips in the minifigures to their custom minifigure platform, and let them set them the minifigure maker that you see in stores. These are seemingly for roofs. They're triangle wedges, and they pair up with the next pattern here, which goes underneath them, similar to the playset scale Slave 1 there, which, if you haven't already, check out the UCS Slave 1 video that I made probably yesterday that we built live on the channel for 10k subs. Thank you so much again for that. And then we also have this part here, which is a new element, no patent for it, well, no new patent for it, I should say, probably one of old, but I thought this was quite interesting because we have the bracket front, half a plate here, and the plate in the middle, which is the answer to the opposite of this with the 2x2 plate and the 2 studs on top. We also actually have a 1x2 with 1 plate on top. So I wonder if in the future we'll get the 1x2 bracket side with a 1x1 plate on the side of that. But it's nice to be seeing the opposite side of that. LEGO have been completing partners recently. Maybe I'll do a video on that. Every single LEGO brick like this, like a bracket, does have its own partner, which effectively undoes what the LEGO brick does. Last but not least, mini superheroes today. Shout out to them. Great for Marvel content. Has shown off one of the new Marvel sets that has a removable hairpiece. I was a big fan of the Hades, of the old Ghost Riders with the flame elements, but my big complaint was that the hairpieces weren't removable. This is massive for LEGO in general. This isn't just to do with the flame hair, because the reason they weren't removable originally was because of how thin the sides were, and the transparent plastic was not good enough. And even recently, we were talking about the illegal technique of translucent plastic on opaque elements. And it might not be illegal anymore. LEGO might have switched up their plastic. Their translucent plastic clearly is a lot stronger than it was at any given point in the last, they've been doing translucent plastic for like 50 years now. And if it's strong enough to clip these thin sides over a headpiece, then maybe it's no longer an illegal technique. So happy illegal technique to all future translucent elements. I must assume this has been going on for a while, because we've also recently seen translucent plates return in LEGO Minecraft, and I'm excited for what the future holds. Maybe Force Ghosts are on the horizon. Fingers crossed, everybody. We might be getting Force Ghosts soon. But now, this is all the new parts. Let's take a look at some of the sets coming out in the next few months. Here we have our first set, Arkham Asylum, which is coming out the 9th of September. I wonder if that'll be a little early for insiders, or if 9th of September means anything to you really hardcore DC fans. I'm not too sure. It's been getting a little bit of slack online, but I think the general opinion is this is an amazing set, which it is. Look at the minifigures. You've got 3 villains here in their regular outfits, 5 of them in their prison suits, and maybe the only thing I would have preferred is swapping Mr. Freeze out for maybe Scarecrow. I think that's the, maybe Scarecrow or Bane. I don't know, we've seen a lot of those in LEGO, and Mr. Freeze is a minifigure that I think if they didn't include Mr. Freeze in the form that we've recently seen him in, probably wouldn't have been included in the set at all. So that's a nice minifigure we got there. 2 guards, 2 Batmen. This one is a very different Batman, and I cannot remember why. And then we also have the son of Batman. This is a brand new version of Robin as well, and a new Batwoman. I was going to have a little look what these characters were, and I think if we scroll down, it should tell us all. Under specifications, we have Batman, Batwoman. It was Batwoman, Batwing. There we go. That's this one, Batwing. We also have Robin, Mr. Freeze, the Riddler, Poison Ivy, Catwoman, Scarecrow, Harley Quinn, Bane, the Joker, the Penguin, Killer Croc, and then the 2 security guards. Not in that order on screen, but take a look at the Arkham Asylum. This is a DC modular building. And I really mean it when I say it, because modular buildings recently haven't been following a 16x16 pattern. This wall here is like 12 bricks wide, and though the rest of it probably is about 16x16, I like this for modular builds because we don't really have this sort of corner build. I think we got a double-ended version of this in City for the modular builds not too long ago. But this build looks immaculate. I mean, it's going to fit really nice within your city. Also fits really nice on a corner display. I guess because it is a corner build, it's also a very, very, very expensive bookend for you DC fans, and it does come apart to reveal some interiors where you can place all the minifigures. 32 centimeters high, not bad. We also have some more Wicked sets. A few of these are mini dolls, but there are also a few of these that are minifigures as well, if you haven't seen. Lego clearly doesn't want us looking at any of the images. I clicked on this as soon as it's up, so they may have taken it down before release at some sort of Comic-Con. Is there a Comic-Con going on at the minute? Here is Emerald City and Kaimoko Castle, which is where Elphaba is residing. Got a nice little castle there. Little rainbow joining it though, that's quite nice. And then we also have Glinda's Wedding Day, which is, these are for the second movie, I guess, coming out September 1st, which isn't far off the release of part 2 of Wicked, which I'm really excited for. Elphaba's Retreat, giving us all the minifigures in cheaper sets. Okay, the sets aren't that cheap. We have, oh, surprise Stranger Things. All right, let's leave that till the end. We'll go back to Wicked with some brickheads for not too bad, $17.99 again, because you're getting 2 brickheads. They're slightly cheaper than getting them separately, which is quite nice for the duo. We've also got Glinda and Elphaba. Oh, that's a tongue twister. Visit Munchkin Land, which we didn't get in the first release. The giant banner that falls in the first act of part 1. And overall, this is quite nice. They've definitely got some translucent bricks in there that we can't see because they've put it on a white background. My personal favourite of the wave is this Emerald City wall art. September 1st, £140. But look at it. Doesn't that just look... It's mainly of Emerald City. I guess we've got a little bit of Munchkin Land down there as well. And the minifigures are great. We've got... Here is a Scarecrow. I should probably blur that out for people that haven't seen the second part, but it will be clear soon. We've got Elphaba and Glinda. We have Dorothy and Toto. And then Toto? Toto's Cad Bane's sidekick, not pet. This is Toto. We also have the Lion and the Tin Man. I think these are all top class minifigures for a really, really nice poster. There you go. There it is on display with a color coordinated room, might I add. A bit of green and purple dotted around. And now, out of Wicked, we go into Stranger Things. We all said quite some time ago now, do you think Lego will ever revisit Stranger Things after the 2 Comic-Con exclusive minifigures and also the Upside Down set, which was great. That was a Lego Idea set. We now have a Stranger Things brickheads. With Transformers, as soon as Lego started making Transformers sets, we knew on the channel Pokemon was coming. Both are owned by Hasbro, and after Hasbro's failed attempt with Creo, it only makes sense that a partnership would form. Now with One Piece from Netflix, and with Stranger Things seeming to have at the very least one exclusive set, here we go. Here are the 4 of them. 360 images, all up on lego.com if you want to pause and take a closer look. Quite a few nice printed pieces, including that bandana. All of them have exclusive parts, so you can't build them elsewhere. Though I will say, I think Dustin looks a bit like... I think it's one of the characters off Gravity Falls. I don't know why I think that, but that's what comes to mind. Do we think that Squid Game's going to get a Lego set? You might say it's a bit too gory and a bit too dark with all the death and that, but not only can we go back to Star Wars for similar themes, also Stranger Things isn't exactly a kid-friendly show, is it? Each of these will have their own base plates, and they look great. $34.99. You save a little bit more buying them in a 4 bundle than you would £10 to £12 separately. If you do want some more Stranger Things sets, definitely look at ordering this, and you never know what Lego might come out with because it's the final season. Lego never get another chance, and alongside the One Piece, maybe Netflix came to Lego and were like, oh, can you make us some One Piece sets? And Lego said, only if we get one more Stranger Things set. It's kind of like the Han Solo contract for Star Wars. And then last but not least, going alongside the whole Mario, Pokemon and other Nintendo themes, we do have a Game Boy. Oh, a Game Boy in Lego. Actually makes a lot of sense looking at it. It's quite straightforward to build. After seeing the NES and also there's been a few different game related consoles. We've recently got the Zelda, Legends of Zelda set, and Super Mario has had various sets and various spins of the theme. We're now in Mario Kart. Hopefully soon we'll get some minifigures and some sets in the style of Zelda. Wicked has done both mini dolls and minifigures. Can't see why Mario Kart can't do interactive and minifigures, or even mini dolls, honestly. I'll take anything at this point. But it looks to be accurate. There's a few stickered pieces and hopefully a few printed parts as well. I would actually be disappointed if the Mario and Zelda pieces here were printed, because the cartridges are stickered on. This top bit's probably a print because it's used more than once. But if they're not stickers, I just feel like it's less genuine if they're printed compared to being stickers. But they're very detailed to be stickers. I hope they're stickers. No offense if you do want them to be prints. I still hope they're stickers. And we also have 3 different screens that if you hold in a different light seem to change. This Nintendo seems to jump down, and I'm sure there are features in these other. That is, oh, is that Super Mario Land there? And then that must be the Zelda one. Don't recognise Zelda, never played it, but £55, a lot cheaper than the previous ones, and I think that's actually pretty good. So this one's coming out October the 1st, alongside the Stranger Things brickheads, October the 1st, alongside that UCS Death Star as well, which I cannot wait to see images on. But that has been all for today's video. I've waffled long enough. This was just to keep today's stream clear when we're building the Slave one, so we can get straight to building and finish it today, which is Thursday. So this video should be coming out not too long from now. Let me know what you think about these new sets, and also where would you like to use these new smartest Lego bricks? Let me know in the comments, and may the bricks be with you always.